If you on your phone right now, you must not want to hear what's meant for me. It's time for an action. So I ask you to close your distractions and bow your head mentally. From the slave ship spheres past the exosphere, I control all. People say life's a movie but don't know they part. Unlike them, I can hear my roll call. On this land called Earth, man's called birth the beginning, and that we hurt born. But truth be told, my soul knew it would make it to this point before its first form. Today a life or two may let it shine as I speak my truth. Say something to day ones, I see my youth. Gathered here today for singing favorites. Such a story shouldn't fit in this type of setting, but Chris will make it. I may even put this at the end of an album, post it as a song. We'll see where I take it. My entire class of 2020 been showing the world how faith look. Off in college, dropping knowledge on Facebook. Creating business run by grief turn hustle. It's some supportive, and yet they range never make it past the Buffalo borders. See, my city trends on Twitter for the wrong reasons. Success that's blessed by song grieving. But now my presence is breathing. Even when I fall, some are meant to spring up, and the wind turns out to be wherever season. Explains why Buffalo full of guys that shifts that we could have saw coming by the signs. At a spot where homies known to drop, tops getting blown in tops, screaming when's it gonna stop? My answer, once we go, is something upon us that only self can identify. You either accept to die a cataclysmic death and regenerate, or live as the underdog, petrified. Why'd nobody tell us that heaven and hell was just metaphors for either learning to live free or choosing to stay lost because of fearing? Why did nobody tell us that the whole time the light at the end of the tunnel was a mirror? But hold on, wait. The subconscious knows from the jump. Came out the womb with a curious mind. A baby in the sanctum looking at the reverend like I'm sure he was lying. Defying all truth, I see it clearer. Speaking in my mind, this is not true. God, I saw you in my mirror. Went to school an outcast. A big boy on Dre production was my dream. I had to make a decision. Wanted to be an engineer, but now I want to build stories. Creating a prism. Knowing that with my people, there was a price to pay. Knowing someday they would listen. Hit a mental low, but OC, these niggas make sure in the hood, it's not alright. You either bipolar, pacifist, to those who deep down don't want to fight. Lived around a criteria that would have made me drop tears if I adhered to him. Even the music I listened to would have been made a joke if ever revealed to him. Almost jumped off peace, bridges burning, that a blizzard cooled off. Next day saw the light, found love in the life being hard. But knew I was too soft. Got in the gym, knowing the wait was over, the only set that I repped. Fitness journey turned spiritual. Learned how the universe moves in the head of the best. Learned that even with Chris chin up, my whole life is the truth made fable. Was shown the strife. Now a normal life is something I can't enable. Now I gain knowledge daily. I add them and even out the playing field. Fuck gun bars. Knowing the armor get in the way, I made a shield. My whole crew, I made the trends exit us, knowing true life was in Sanskrit. Fuck riding the wave, I split the wave to show you what the commandment. What I'm trying to say is, I went past the limit, saw my true self. Now I am heaven, it's all here. Knowing shit would get biblical, and that I'd cry out when I reach God's tier. But again, the block may think to themselves, this nigga's a nerd. This shit is absurd. But will never tell themselves, this some shit that I've heard from a black man. This a rap fan turned madman. Oh, these is divine times. My response, the universe, what you feel when my mind when you enter. This nigga Chris is amazing is all you'll see down the timeline. This was all in my agenda. But listen closely. Being the best Buffalo rapper was never my goal. Open mic with only days to write. I had no choice but to read it off of my phone. But one thing's for sure, I'll never phone it in. Regardless of how I read it, this is how the story goes. But if y'all thought this whole thing was crazy, y'all wouldn't know the half. I got record of many of my music's info, even my phonograph. Showing the bars of how my life inclined, rise right behind the slew of the music. My old self looking down the path of life that I walked like I knew I could do it. Even as COVID put life on hard mode for the contents, subconscious just sits back and nods. Held my entire living up to the sun, not knowing it was a mirror that made me come back a god. So when I see my class still sad that we had no graduation or prom, I'm a little confused. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if we had any of those things, we wouldn't be this mentally strong.
Come on.
This is the era that weeded out the weak. I must be blunt. The smoke still ain't clear, nor concern for action. The memory of all that happened back then can burn with my passion. This is not the end, but rather the beginning of new times. Word to the divine. 4 years of calibration that can be laid to rest. An era that pulls a card I must decline. Yo, Rod, it's time. Lines containing the truth only told by the one that wrote them. Pre-written just like life, despite words spoken by edited notions. Perfected the stroke and brush that I use to brush off pain. In the gauge it turned to fuel. Price on an uprise ready to blow. That's what I call inflation.
Come on.
Heavy.
I even wrote this piece staring at the sun, set to destroy us on repeat, off one time. To build a new era means to understand we've been tricked into being too tired to see sunrise. Be loved, but love the look of when sun falls. Just like real life, this not a stretch. It's too early to see sun come up, and the block hates when you build. It all connects. These is truths that revolve around us. For our life, they either equate or formulate and make you feed tricks. Chose to snatch or bit off my plate, covering my shine recorded for the chrome. These is eclipse. So I couldn't just show up. The galaxy waiting for my soul to shapeshift. My mind is phasing. Fuck a participation award. I sit with the stars. I'm a different type of constellation. Amazing how I turned out for my life. But now they think I'm next to gone. They may yell, Chris, your reign is making the hood jealous. Protect the throne. I look at those ready with the pose. I seen you bitter before. I just pray whatever I murky reconsider to respond to the call. So if I drop an EP, tune in. To intervene, is it worth it? If he who preys on the downfall of others got soul, we'll give him Mars. It still won't scratch the surface of the ground we both grew from. However we planned, it was made to feel. So when I look at my people, I never think that you and I verse, because there's space to heal.
Come on.
We got a long way to go. None of this was a sermon. Just food for thought for niggas watching others eat.
Come on.
And as for me, a nigga from Buffalo that almost jumped the peace bridge, I learned one thing. You gotta be the peace to be at peace.
Come on.
Yeah.
Something's gotta give, and we are that something. So when you hear someone say there's a price to pay, I shouldn't have to say nothing.
Come on.
This is who I am, the forefather. This is what happens when vision pops. Even became a photographer. My roots gave you the large picture, and it isn't cropped. This is power that shall only be used for good. This is not for no evil. Hey, yo, Buffalo rappers, that's how you talk to your people.
Come on.
Come on, dude.
Woo!
Come on.
I am the voice of earth, so why would I sell myself short? A price supposed to know is worth. Amen.
Buffalo Cats. Yeah.
Heavy.
Let's get it, baby.